Thematic investing sounds great, doesn't it? But in practice, it's a labyrinth. To kick off our special week of content on thematics, I'm joined by Kenneth Lamont, Morningstar Senior Analyst for Passive Strategies, to help bust some myths. So, let's begin. Myth number 1. All thematics are risky.
The obvious answer here is yes, they are risky. In fact, you could say that many thematic funds are risky by design. They are designed to isolate specific drivers of risk and return. In a paper published last year, we showed that 9 out of 10 thematic funds globally had a higher standard deviation than the global equity markets over long periods. But risky is a relative judgment, and it depends on what we are comparing to what. Many investors invest thematically by buying 1 or 2 stocks exposed to a given theme. In this context, a basket of thematic stocks may actually be the less risky option because you can diversify away some of the non-thematic stock-specific or idiosyncratic risk and retain the desirable theme-specific risk. In many cases, even a highly concentrated thematic ETF can have a lower standard deviation than any of its holdings over longer periods.
Myth number 2. Thematic funds cannot be benchmarked.
Thematic funds often have license to cut across traditional sector, geographic and size boundaries, and can therefore be difficult to benchmark. To address this issue, at Morningstar, we've created thematic averages, which are built from all funds globally tracking a similar theme and allow you to plot the performance of a theme through time.
Myth number 3. Thematic funds are more likely to close.
In some quarters, thematic funds have a reputation for being trendy, opening to track the theme du jour and closing when interest falls away. In fact, our research has found that thematic funds globally are actually less likely to close than all funds over 1, 3, 5, 10 and 15 years. Now, this still means that the average thematic fund has around a 50% chance of survival over longer periods. Beyond the averages, selecting the right thematic provider can improve your chances of investing in a surviving fund. For example, the world's largest thematic provider, Pictet Asset Management, have only ever closed 1 thematic fund.
Myth number 4. Thematic funds are just overpriced sector funds.
So thematic funds do tend to charge more than their non-thematic peers, so the overpriced criticism may hold some water. But a thematic fund should isolate distinct risk and return drivers from a sector fund. Some are more targeted. For example, 100% of the Global X Genomics and Biotech ETF holdings sit within the healthcare GICS sector. Others offer a much more diffuse exposure, like the iClimate Global Decarbonization Enablers ETF, which has significant exposures to 5 different GICS sectors.
Myth number 5. Thematic investing is just a flash in the pan.
While it's true that thematic fund assets have ballooned, particularly in the wake of the global pandemic, in Europe, despite some pretty dismal performance across the board for thematics over the last 18 months or so, we have still only seen a single quarter of net outflows since 2016. This certainly isn't the stampede for the exits at the first signs of trouble that some predicted. The story has been a global one too. You will see similar growth charts in most global fund markets. The democratization of and mass customization of finance are also both megatrends which have been supportive of thematic investing and suggest investing thematically isn't just a flash in the pan.